everybody, it's Kate Richburg. I'm back at the home studio. Here we are. So we are ready to do this amazing earring. Miranda's here, Alfred's here, Chris is here. Alfred is I think Alfred's filling orders. I'm not sure. No, he's being lazy. So he is. He was trying to chomp Miranda because he's a bad boy. He's already brought his stick in for the day, so we are all set and ready to go. Speaking of set and ready to go, I hope that you folks love what I've got going on for you today. We're so busy with new stuff and all this stuff that I realized yesterday at about 3:00 that I better pull it together and get a project ready for you. So I've got it here and I think it's going to be fun. So let me add this. I've called this project Bloom, and we're going to dive into it in just a second. But let me, gosh, everyone's here. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We love it. Love. Let me share with you today. Where is that? Okay. You can find us everywhere on social. Facebook, Insta, Pinterest. Hit that like and subscribe and notification button over on YouTube. Tag us online, anywhere online at beadshop.com. And questions, hit us up at info@beadshop.com. Miranda ran out and got us some drinks because I needed a little sweet treat this morning. So I'm having some kind of crazy Dutch Brothers thing. Introduced by Miranda, and now I'm kind of hooked on them. They're kind of tasty, but half sweet, not full sweet. So we all have drinks. We're all ready to go. We're all caffeinated. And let's see. I'm just looking here at all of the comments. It's great to have all of you all here. Oh, I love it. Sherry was watching the original The Women. I have it. I've been watching parts of it as I'm doing other things. So I'm in good company, Sherry.
That reminded me.
What's that?
The other day JoJo went to put on something on TV and he was like, "Oh yeah, Little Women." Puts it on. It's Little Women LA.
Oh. That's funny. It wasn't the real Little Women.
No, it was a reality show.
The reality show, no, not to be confused with Louisa May Alcott, right? So yeah, we're gonna have a fun time with this one today. I also wanted to let you folks know a couple of updates. We have almost all of the color collections. Those are almost ready to go for you folks. They should be shipping out kind of at the beginning of next week. We're going to get all of that ready to go. So hopefully we'll get those out early for you. Janice and I are creating our second collection, custom color collection. I think you folks will love it. It's a shape that we don't carry. So stay tuned to that for our for your newsletters. That pre-sale is going to be coming up. Also, we're going to be doing a pre-sale soon on the kits for Emily's Christmas in July project. So you're going to see that come up shortly as well. We've got a big drop coming tomorrow. Check your newsletter. I am on track to get the Frida kits launched on Saturday morning. That's what I'm hoping. So, so we've got a lot going on. So check those newsletters. Check. And JP, we don't have any more Malaga to pre-order. I think we've turned that off, but we might have some to sell, like a few, because we have a little bit of an overage. Let me just double check and make sure I'm not leading you astray. And I think, oh, we do have it. I'm actually going to turn it off right after the broadcast. We shouldn't have any. I thought I set it, though I'm not sure why it's set. If you see it and you want to pre-order it during the broadcast, do it, and then I'm going to turn it off again. So yeah, because I'm not sure what happened there, but it's there. Okay, so if you want to do it, I'll turn it off like at about noon Pacific time. I think that's all. It's great to be back. I had a fantastic weekend, a whole lot of fun with friends, stitching and sewing and laughing and creating. It was awesome. So, but I'm back. I've got a little less than a month before I leave for France. So there's all kinds of craziness going on, trying to get everything prepped. So when I'm gone, everything will run as smooth as silk. And so yesterday when I was thinking about this project, okay, and let me highlight this so you folks can see it. There we go. When I was thinking about it, I was thinking about my earrings that I made last year, the Fresno to France earrings, which were really fun, and I wore them in France, and it was great. Well, I think these are going to be my new France earrings. Okay. And the new France earrings, I called these Bloom. So I think these are the ones that I'm going to be wearing like crazy in France for you. Tina, thanks for asking about journals. My mom just finished the journals for France, and I think she's starting to work on another journal drop for all of you folks. Hopefully soon, maybe before I go, I don't know, but it's definitely on her list. So, I will give everybody a warning about it in the newsletter, so you'll know when to look out for it. They sold like hotcakes last time, so and I'm excited to share with you the journal she made for my class in France. I might have an extra one to do a little giveaway with after I get home, so it'll be fun. Okay, so here's the Bloom earring. I'm going to slide in a little bit here so you can see this. Bear with me here just a second. Let me zoom in. This is the original that I made yesterday at about 3 o'clock. Oh, Celia, I'm so happy about that. Ma, I don't know if you're watching yet or if you're on. But Celia's saying I bought one of the journals and gave it to her granddaughter for her 21st birthday, and she was so excited and loves it so much. Oh, I'm so, so happy. That's awesome. That makes me happy, and I know in turn my mom, if she's not on here seeing that, I'll make sure she knows that's awesome. So these are the Bloom earrings. I've got the project up. Right now it's linked on the homepage, and it has everything I've used here, though you can choose your own color choices here. What I used was the SuperDuo in Opal Aqua Matte. I thought it gave it a really kind of beautiful, glowy kind of a feel. Then I used, pardon me, I used the 8-2030, which is, let me go over there and see if I can get the list. The 8-2030 is the matte metallic steel blue luster. Then I used some 15s. This is the 1017 silver lined emerald AB. And then I used a 3mm fire polish, though you could use a 6-aught if you wanted to. I think a 6-aught would look great. You could also use, I wanted to show you these. We'll be getting more of these in. We have the order almost finalized. Let me see, where did it go? Those our the rhinestone, the sew-in rhinestones. Remember, we had those. A lot of you nabbed those from our Great Bead Extravaganza drop that we did last month. It's the sew-in rhinestone. I thought I had some sitting here. I guess I don't. But the sew-in rhinestones would look amazing in there. You can also use, I might have some sew-in rhinestones left over from the Gatsby mix. I don't know. But we'll be getting more of those in because I think that rhinestone would look amazing here in the middle. But for now, I'm using just the 3mm metallic suede purple. I also, you can see on this one, well, I also added, you can see a bezel briolette, though you could add a regular sized briolette here as well. Okay. Just our regular briolets be a little bit bigger. But this was the first one that I did over here. Okay. And you can see it has 4 of these flower elements. We're going to talk about these. I've stitched them together. I did a loop up here at the top to go to the ear wire. This is the gold-filled ear wire. And then this morning, as I was playing around with the project, I thought about these Alona findings, the symbol findings that Danielle Wicks used in her earring, right? And I love these. And I thought, well, it might, because I love how this looks, but I feel like it looks not quite as polished as I want it to be. Can you see that there? Right? I mean, it looks great. But here I added the Alona finding up on the top one and the bottom one. And I feel it adds a lot of polish to this piece. Oh, Mary, I will measure them for you. I'll measure one of these units and then you can see how this all goes together. So I added these guys. You could also, with these, I think these little flower units have a lot of potential. So see here, this one flower unit with the Alona, let me tell you how long it is. You could also, hey, Miranda, will you grab me some chain, some gold, like, I don't know, maybe paperclip or something to dangle this earring. Yeah, bright. Do we have any? This is about 3/4 of an inch from top to bottom. It might be a little heavy for an earring, but it will look cute. It's a bracelet. Can I have that one real quick? No, I just want to show it to them. Because we've got this one. What's this one called? Ship to Shore. This is the Ship to Shore. This would make a great charm bracelet. It's a little heavy for an earring, but look at how cute. You could put some of these on as charms. Wouldn't that look amazing? You could definitely link these together. I'm going to show you how to do it. You could do that as a bracelet. You could do this here, right? You could definitely stitch a bunch of these freeform, Deborah, like you're saying, for a necklace. They'd make really great dangles. You could do a single earring and have this Alona on the top and the bottom like this, right? And you could just dangle it as an earring like that, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? I think.
The only other bright gold is flat paper clip or long story short.
Yeah, I'll take flat paper clip, I think, maybe. Let's take a look. No, I just want to show them.
Oh, okay.
This would look great too as an earring, just as a component part, right? So we could get this flat paper clip chain. You could connect it with just one link, right? Like this. And then you could connect the ear wire to the top. You could also do the same like this. Maybe that's not too heavy. If you just use like a short piece, maybe like 2 or 3. We also have the ship to shore in the bright gold, but you can also mix your finishes. You can do it in silver or copper, or whatever you liked with it. But I think these are such fun little components, really ready for you to play around with. Now, if you don't have these Alona findings, we of course have all of this stuff on Beadshop. Thanks, Miranda. I'll give you these back. We've got all of these on Beadshop, of course. But, and Janice says we have a bunch of chain coming, which is awesome. You can see here, you can just put a little loop of the 50-knots right at the top, and that works fine too. This whole earring from the top right here to the bottom is about 1 3/4 inches or so, not including the dangle, not including the ear wire up at the top. But you can decide how you want to work these. Okay, but essentially you need a SuperDuo, a 15, a 3 mil. That's what you need, and an 8/0 for this. Then the Alona finding, you could probably also use a SuperDuo finding for this. I used the Fireline for this just because that's what I've been using recently. But you can use anything you like thread-wise. You can match the thread, contrast the thread. This KO in denim would look great. Just depends on what you want to do. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create one of the component parts, and then we're going to stitch these together. You need 4 like this to make this earring. I also thought you could even make it a little bit longer and put one of those at the bottom if you wanted. But I'm going to stitch it in this configuration right there. Okay, but it gives you, you can decide if you like that gold. I think the gold adds kind of a nice polished finish look to it. So I think I'm going to switch up the photo after the broadcast to include this one that has the finding. But you decide what you want. If you don't want a lot of metals there, you can kind of play around with it. I'm doing a size 12 beading needle here, which I'm holding up to my focal length to try and get it threaded, because I thought I had a longer piece, but I didn't before the show, so give me a second here. I need to have it a little further out at my focal length. Needling the thread, as Emily has taught us to do. The size 12 needle, the eye is a little smaller, so sometimes the Fireline, it's a little bit harder. You could go up to a size 10 beading needle if you want, but the 12s, again, that's what has been on my desk here. So that's what I've been using. Here we go. Okay, so here are these embellishments. Let me show you how to make one of these little components. It's super easy. So we're going to start with 8 SuperDuos. And we're just going to string them on, okay? And we want to make sure as we're stringing them, I'm kind of looking at the second hole to make sure that second hole is clear. We're going to put them on our needle, and we're going to slide them all the way through. Whoops, not off, but all the way through there to the end of your tail. Pardon me, sorry. Let me get another drink of I guess I haven't been speaking enough yet today. 2, 4, 6, 8 of these. Okay. So now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to tie a square knot right over left, left over right, and tighten it down. Okay. I'm going to leave this tail because I'm going to weave this in later. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our 3 millimeter, and that's going to be the center bead. Okay, so I'm going to go up through that 3 millimeter and see how my thread is coming out down here between this bead here, these two SuperDuos. I've got 4, so I'm going to count 4 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to come up. Actually, I lied to you. First, I'm going to go through this bottom hole. That's what I needed to do of the SuperDuo, so it's lined up correctly. There we go. Now I go to its opposite, its friend over here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put on my 3 millimeter, and I'm going to go through this bottom hole of this SuperDuo so that the 3 millimeter bead kind of lands in the middle and has 4 and 4 on each side. Can I get it through the hole? There we go. Okay, see that there? Coming out through there and going through that SuperDuo there. Okay. So now I've got this here. Now I'm going to get my thread in the right position, right? Because I'm going to start going through the tops of these, and I want to pull it kind of tight to make sure I don't have too much extra thread there. So I'm going to reverse course. I'm going to go up through the top hole of this SuperDuo. And you can see here, when you stitch that 3 millimeter in, it sits a little bit high. So this is going to be the front. You see that? It's a little bit high up there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to fill in between the SuperDuos. So I'm going to use 115, 1/8, and 115. Okay, and I do that for a few, and then I put the little finding in. Okay, so here's one. Tighten it up. They just fit. Okay, so make it nice and snug. Let's get another one, a 15, an 8, and a 15 right there. Put it through. Now this one, a 15, an 8, and a 15. The next one, I'm going to stitch my little component in there. Okay. Oh, I've got a thread back here. Oh, let's see. What's this thread from? Hang on. Did I start in the wrong place? Is this caught? No, it goes through that hole. I must have stitched this like out of order. Hang on. I want to fix it. I know it means going back, but I'm just going to stitch back through. This is Fireline, so hopefully it won't snag my thread or split my thread. I'm glad I checked the back of that. Yeah, I think I came across something was funny with where I stitched this. I don't know. But I don't want that mistake in this earring, so I'm just going to fix it. It won't hurt it. let's see. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to try and see where this comes out. I don't want to unthread my needle, but I will if I have to. But I'll go back at Kate Speed and fix it. I always think it's worth fixing, right? If it's worth doing, in my book, if it's worth doing, it's worth fixing, right? Even though this is just a demo, but I'm going to go back. We've got time. And it shows you how I just go back and yeah, it's right. It's right here's the mistake. There it is. Okay. So what I needed to do is I needed to pass my thread through that SuperDuo hole. There we go. Make it nice and tight. Then I've got my 3mm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count over 4. Put it through up at the top. Tighten it in. Oops, there's a little knot in my thread. Tighten it in. Now, I stitch back up to that top hole. Now I'm fixed and ready to go. See, there's my little flower. So now I've got a 15-aught, an 8-aught, and a 15. I'm going to do these 3 times. I'm going to fill in 3 little spaces, right? There's 1, here's 2, and here's 2, except there's no 15 on there. Must have fallen off, or I must have missed it. And here's the 3rd one, a 15, an 8, and a 15. These are all kind of in the same kind of color way, right? It's very kind of, you know, the colors kind of grouped together. This also, I think, would be really great if we did this in a high contrast too, right? I think it would look really great. So now I'm going to add this finding. So I'm going to put on a 15. I go through one of the holes in the Alona 2. I go through one of those little legs. I go through, sorry, let me pick this up. You kind of have to put your needle in. You kind of have to put this in there. And then you kind of have to slide your needle all the way through. There we go. See how that is done? That little 15 takes up, there's a tiny little bit of space in there. Okay. So it takes that little bit of space up in it. Okay. So see there? There it is. Now we're just going to stitch the rest of the way around and fill it in with the 15, the 8, and the 15. Okay, like that. 15, 8, 15, and then one more. Nice and tight. We want a nice firm piece, and these little beads, you know, that are around the SuperDuos, it really makes it nice and firm and sturdy. You zoom out a little bit. See if I can get that focused. Okay, so now I'm going to finish it off with the 15, the 8, the 15. And now I'm going to tie off this piece so it's just its own little component. Okay. So what I do is I need to see where this tail is coming out here. I need to weave this tail to this tail over here. Okay, because then I'm going to tie a knot. So I also want to make sure that everything is sitting correctly. So I'm just going to go through. That one's a little off. There we go. Like that, like that. Tighten that up. Okay, good. Now, I've come through this hole in the SuperDuo here, so I'm going to drop back down. And I'm just going to work my way through the bottom holes of the SuperDuo to where that other tail is. Okay, there and right there. Okay, like this. Oh, Terry, I love your enthusiasm. Terry says, I'm going to make a mountain of tiny flowers and it's going to be glorious. It is. Please, Terry, post them. I know these are so addictive. They would make great earrings for, like, I don't know, if you're doing brides or something, right? Or a bridal party. Wouldn't that be pretty as a dangle? And then you could make like a little matching charm bracelet. Just doing this earring, even just like this, is darling. They make up so fast, right? So they're great for summer markets. You could sell them pretty inexpensively because, again, so fast. Really fun. Yeah, they are kind of like yo-yos, right? When you make them for quilts, or for or crocheting, right? An anklet, Alita is speaking Miranda's language.
Say what?
For an anklet, they'd be cute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So here I'm going to tie a square knot right over left, left over right. If you want to add a dot of glue, you can, but I'm not going to. This fire line really grabs tightly. And what I do to get rid of the threads here, after I tie the knot, what I do is I put my needle back through the bottom hole of that SuperDuo, right? And I pull, and that knot is going to go to the inside of that SuperDuo there, okay? And tighten it down. Maureen, you don't see much of the thread path. That's a great question. I'll put this one up close and I'll show you, especially if you stitch it nice and tight. My first earring, since it was my first one, was a little wonky, right? So I think you can see more thread than you might. But if you really want the thread to blend, I mean, you could try the smoke fire line. I'm using the white because it's easier to see on camera. And see, I'm just coming in and thread burning those tails away. This one, you can see a little bit of the thread, but not really, right? And then here's just this little, look at that little charm. It's so lovely. I love it. So now you make 2 of these with these drops. I mean, look at how cute that is with the little drops all together, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to place this one at the top, those 2 at the sides, and that one goes at the bottom. Okay. So the way that we attach these is, see how this differs a little bit than this one that I did here. Can you see it? And let me show you. Here at the top, the loop, the way that this flower is situated, the A dot is at the top here. Okay. Here, with this finding, the SuperDuo has to be at the top. Okay. So when we add, can you see here, 1, 2, I attached it to the third A dot that's coming down here. So what I'm going to do here instead is I'm going to attach this one. Let's see. This might be a little closer in. I'm going to attach it still to the second one, but there's not going to be as much space in between, which I also think will be better. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to put my thread through this A dot right here. So I'm coming through here. And I can even come through if I want to. Like, I don't have to go down that far, because let's say that I want to, when I come through, I'm going to do all of these connections with one thread. Maybe I want the knot a little further up into this component. Okay. So I'm going to slide it down. I'm going to slide it through. Let me bring the needle forward so I can see where my thread path is. See how the thread is coming out of that top hole of the SuperDuo right there? Now I'm going to come in. Actually, I've lied to you. I'm going to come in the opposite direction because I really don't want any thread to show. So let me go the opposite way, like this, around that. I've counted down 1, 2. This is the third one. I'm going to go through that SuperDuo. I'm going to go through that 15 and out that A dot. Can you see it? Now I'm just going to stitch in a circle. So I'll put this down. I'll put an A dot on. Okay. I'll pick up one of these. It doesn't matter where I pick it up because there's no, right? There's no little section, little finding. I choose an A dot, and I'm only going through the A dot. I'm not going through the 15. Right? So see how there's an A dot in between there? Now, I'm going to put on another A dot, and I'm going to go through that original A dot right there. Okay. And you could use a SuperDuo as a connector. You could use anything really that worked. Just experiment. But if you're making a bracelet, this is how I'd connect them. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit more. I'll let you take a screenshot right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come around and over that one right there. Okay. And I like it better that, see what I had to do on this one? How I stitched these closed or together with a 3mm. I think this is going to be a little bit tighter. I think that the earring will have a little more, will be a little firmer, which is what I'm looking for. Okay. So let me continue to go through fixing that circle and around. Go up through this A dot. So it tightens everything up. Okay, and I'm going to do it again on this side here. So I'm going to come in and now I'll stitch through this 15, the SuperDuo, the other 15, see if I can get it. If you need to go bead by bead, you can. Let me go through that 15. Let me go through this SuperDuo. If I can get it, there it is. Sometimes you can't go all the way through. You could also just, if this were in the right, lined up correctly, you could just make a line of these too. Wouldn't that be cute? I'll go through that 15 and that 8 on. So now I still have that tail up there that I'm going to come back through later. But see, this is connected, so now I'm going to connect this one. So I put on an 8/0. I go through, doesn't really matter which one, right? Because there's no finding on this. I go through this 8/0 on the component. I add another 8/0 to close it up. And then I go through the 8/0 at the top. And I've made like a little diamond here. And again, I'm not going through the 15s, just the 8/0. So it's like a little hinge. And see, the beads, the components themselves are going to come together kind of like that, right? I'm going to deal with the center when I get to it, okay? But now what I have to do is I have to bring this thread. Let me go around one more time to reinforce this. Let me do that. And then we need to figure out which bead I need to come out of to add the bottom one. So 2 are on. This one here, see, it's a little loose, but with that reinforcement, you can tug at it. And get it all tight. Now, I guess I could if I wanted to, I guess I could tie this thread off up here now, right? I don't know. Maybe I want to, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to weave down here and keep using the same thread. I don't know. I might regret it later, but hopefully I'm not going to. Plus, I like the reinforcement of this thread. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to go back through that 8/0. Now I am going to go through that 15, back through the SuperDuo. I need to get my thread in the right place to stitch the other one on. So let's see where that place is. Okay. Let me count. 1, 2, 3. I think I need to do it in the 4th one down. One, 2, 3, or the 3rd one down from this. 1, 2, 3 is that one, so that will connect there. 2, 3, and that will connect there. I don't want them to overlap. So maybe it's 2. I think that's better, right? That looks a little bit better, actually. So I'm going to skip 1 right here. So I'll go through that 15, go through that 8. So there's one A-dot section in between those clusters. I'm going to go here, go through the SuperDuo. And it kind of, you know, you decide the placement for yours, right? This is kind of arbitrary, what I did. Now I'm going to go through that 15 and that 8 and come out the A-dot. Now I'll be ready to connect the next component. See that there? So I'm going to place this right here. I need an A-dot. We're really just mirroring that configuration from the top. So I go through the A-dot. See there? And I'm going to go put on another one. I still think I might have to reinforce the middle like I did with this one, but we'll see, right? I'm just taking this step by step. Put this one on and then go through that same one. And again, just the A-dot. Then make that circle one more time. These are pretty cute, if I do say so myself. I don't know what I was trying to figure out yesterday, playing around with some SuperDuos, and we do that snowflake earring that we've done for the holidays, and I've done kind of riffs on it and stuff before. I'm going to go back through one more time here. But that snowflake starts with, I think, 6.
What'd you call it?
In the center. So I thought I'd add an extra one to look more like a flower. And I think it worked out. And then you can kind of play around with what goes in the center. I was looking at a 4mm, but the 4mm was just a little too big. The 3mm was exactly right. So see, here we go. Now I'm going to go through that SuperDuo, through that 15, through that A-dot, and I'm going to stitch through that A-dot right there. So bring my needle around. Bring it through there, that 15. I think it only wants to go through that 15, so I don't break my needle. Again, I'm using a size 12 beading needle, which I think is the right choice for this. Let's see if I can get this through. There we go. Stitch it, pull it nice and tight. Let me rearrange to make sure that nothing is twisted. The little tail up here is bothering me, but I need it in order to tie off. So I'm gonna hang with it. So I go through that 15. Now I'm going to, is that what this is? Audrey, is this right angle weave for the connection? Look at how smart I am. doing right angle weave without even knowing. The right angle weave, if you were with me on Saturday, oh, it was a little bit of a disaster. I mean, not completely, but sometimes I have a little bit of a spatial relationship issue where I can't quite get the gist of things. Maybe this was a holdover from that Saturday too. Who knows? Oops, now I've done it. Come on, loosen up. Try not to catch the whole earring there. There we go. I keep like laying this out so that I don't twist it, right? Which I think is a pretty good idea. So now I've come over. Can you see where I'm going to attach it? Right? So I'm going to get that other one. The last, an 8/0 there, through that one, an 8/0 there, and through that. Okay. 8/0 on the needle, through that 8/0 on the flower. I really need to spend some quality time with right angle weave. It's not my best stitch. And now back through here. Okay. Okay. And tighten it up. Yeah, I think that works. Right? So now I'm going to reinforce one, and only the 8/0 are stitched here. I think the reinforcement step is pretty important because you really want to hold these fairly, snug. So if you feel like you want to reinforce it one more time, do it. There's plenty of room in these 8/0. Here we go. And this one. And this one. So let me talk to you a little bit about what I did in the original. Okay. So Barbara, we don't have a kit, but if you go to beadshop.com, right now it's on the homepage. There's a complete listing of everything I did. There's also a recipe that just links to the general categories, so you can choose what you like color-wise. But if you want this exact configuration, it's right there, and you just add it to cart that way. Okay. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a comparison. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here. I'm glad you folks love this as much as I did. I was hoping that it was going to turn out okay. So see, here's the one on the right. I still think I need this bead in the center, right? Because when I hold it up, see, it's kind of has some movement. Okay. What I also did to stiffen everything up, can you see how I went around? And I'm going to do the same thing with that one. I did another step where I came in and over where the SuperDuos are, I used 2 15s. I feel like it gave it a little more of a substantial feel, and I like the look, right? This feels maybe a little unfinished so far. So let's stitch in that center, and I think where it needs to go is right in the middle. Beforehand, with this different configuration, can you see how the 2 SuperDuos were pointing at each other? So it was easy to get that that 3mm in there. Here, I've got the 8/0. I mean, I could, I guess, do kind of another right angle weave kind of circle there. But I think what I want to do is I want to drop a 3mm in there like that. So what I'm going to do to make sure that it sits correctly, I'm going to weave up to where that 8/0 is. Here and here. I'm going to go through it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on this 3mm. And see how I came out from the top of this hole? I'm going to go across and come up from the bottom of this 8/0. So it will kind of sit evenly. I think that's just my feeling. Yeah. And so now I'm going to go back through that 3mm. So I've kind of made like a figure 8 going through. This, though, would also really look good with one of the sew-in rhinestones. And then I'll go through here. One of those stitch-in rhinestones look great. We're going to get those back in because I am kind of obsessed with them. You could use a bicone. You could use anything in here. But let me get a little tighter so you can see it. Okay. So what I did was I essentially did kind of a figure 8 in here so that that bead would sit center. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the 15/0 all the way around. Now you could add 11s, I think, if you wanted. I just added 2 around here. You can see a little bit of the thread. So maybe I'll see if I want to add more of those. Let me bring my needle over to where I want it to be. Needle over. Try not to split the thread. And what I did this time, oops. Looks like a giant jumble, doesn't it? There we go. What I did here was I went through the 15, I think. No, I didn't. I lied. Let me put that back. I did not go through the 15. Let me lay that down. All right. So I just want to make a little, I'm going to put on 3 and I'm going to see how 3 look. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to skip the 15, the top of the SuperDuo, and I'm going to go through the other 8-aught. Okay, this is why I didn't put on 3, because 3 wants to curl kind of over the top of that SuperDuo. So that's a no. I'm going to go back through, hopefully not catching any thread. I know I should go like eye of the needle first. I should unthread the needle, but I'm playing with fire here. Let me take that 15 off. Let me zoom out a little bit. And let me put those on. So essentially what I do is I just keep going. Yeah, that's right. So 2 15s and through the 8-aught. You may have a better edge. I mean, you could put any kind of edging that you liked on here, really. 2 and through the next 8-aught. Skip the 15, skip the SuperDuo, skip the 15 on the other side of it. See how that, I think that just fills it out about right. So 2 of these. And I think 15s are the right choice for this. You could experiment with other things. 11s might be a little bit big, but I don't know. This is all one giant experiment. And then this here. Okay, so that goes around. That side is complete. So now I'm going to jump to the bottom one. And I kind of have to work my way, kind of needle through all this business until it comes out right there at that SuperDuo. So I am going to go through that 15, that SuperDuo, the 15 on the other side. There we go. I was ready, right? And yeah, I'll put the ear wire on it and stuff, and I'll put it on so you can see it. We don't carry them, but I'm sure you could also do this with mini duos. I think mini duos, right, are a little bit smaller. I like that idea. So I go down through that 8-aught there. I go through that 15. I don't know, maybe I did need to put some right there because I did do that there. I think that was incorrect. I'm going to take this out. Sorry, I'm fresh at doing this, so let me go back through. Let's hope I don't. Oh, I'm not gonna tempt fate. I'm gonna take the needle out and take this thread out that way. I think you do need a, see right here, I think there's room to put those little 2 SuperDuos in. So let me take this back, see if I can grab the thread out from there. Okay. Let me see if I can restring it without taking an hour. I'm going to clip myself a new end. I knew, don't you know, sometimes, you know, when you're stitching, you're like, you know, that you're making a mistake. That's how I felt when I was doing this. I was like, no, I think they need to go there. Give me just a second and I'll restring this needle. It's the bane of my existence, right? Needle to thread. I like using the size 12 needle for this, but again, the eye of the needle is small. Come on. Bear with me here just a second. I'm really having trouble seeing it. But you understand that, right? I'm going to give myself another. Oh, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm also, I have my wax here. I'm going to wax this end. CR said she's working with the tiny duos and you can't use the 8/0. Tried with the 11s and it still isn't sitting right. Well, good to know, CR. Thanks for testing this out. I like that idea of sizing it down, but there we go. All the end of that fire line needed was a tiny bit of wax to go through. Come on. You're through the needle. I just have to grab you. There we go. Yeah, I also think, Curtis, I think this is super versatile. Super versatile. You could choose any colorway that you liked. So let me go through that 8/0. Now that's where I went wrong. So let me put 2 15s on. And I'm going to go through, I think that was my problem. I wasn't really sure where to put the needle. But I'm just going to go through that 8/0 in that little piece of right angle weave. There we go. Now I'm going to bring this around. Just follow the bead path. Follow this. And then we're ready to add our next two. Someone has got some serious bass going on out there.
I think it's Chris.
No, I don't think it's Chris. Maybe. Yeah, I look forward to seeing your takes on this for sure. I think this is a good, hopefully a good just a creative springboard for you all. I mean, make them exactly the same if you'd like, but it's also, I think this really has a lot of room to interpret. So there goes that one. We're almost halfway done. If I don't make any more mistakes, you never know. This one here. So now we're getting to where this finding is. Let's hope that doesn't pose too much of a problem. I'm going to put those two on. So now I need to figure out, like, where am I going to put this needle through? I think I can get it through the Alona finding. I think it just stitches right through there. Right? Like that. Yep. Through the SuperDuo, back through the other Alona. There we go. That didn't give me too much trouble. Now we are exactly halfway through. Okay. I'm going to go through there, go through that 8/0. And again, I think this little edging just helps everything sit how you want it. That one. This one, we're going to turn the corner. I'm going to go through the bottom of the right angle weave. This also helps to reinforce the sides, which isn't a bad thing. So I go there. I go up through the side bead of the right angle weave. Whoops. I go through this one. And now I'm ready to stitch the edge of that. So we've got these done. This one's done. This all sitting nicely. It is. Good. And we'll go here. 2 15s. Two 15s through the 8/0. And there's still, it's nice and firm, but it still has some movement, so that's good. I think the tension is right on this. Let's hope that goes through. Almost there. This little tail, I'll be so glad to cut that little tail off of this piece. Yeah, the payoff on this is good. Thanks, Mom. My mom's saying that I'm brave to show all this, do this right on air. Well, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? We just have to kind of play around. And plus, after that stitch in on Saturday where I couldn't do the second row of that, I'm still thinking that through. Don't worry, that's not going to be the last you saw of that project, but the last of it for a little bit. This goes through. Here we go. Follow that path around the right angle weave. And now we'll do our last flower. 2. Oh my god, that base is gonna... I think this is a new development. I don't know who the heck that is, but we don't usually hear that. And I know Chris listens to music loud, but not music with that much bass. It's usually our neighborhood's pretty quiet. There's this. So now this is when I do that little thing where I'm going through that Alona 2, through the Alona, through the SuperDuo, and through the other Alona. You can do that in one needle swipe. Three. of those. Make sure I didn't go through the 15. Two of these. One last section here of 2, and then we'll weave this out. See where the threads want to meet up. 1, 2, and through that top bead and the right angle weave. Okay. So essentially what you've made is a symmetrical component, right? So this is, these two are the same, these two are the same, okay? So let me see where this thread is coming out, like right here. So let me get this needle to the back. I'm just going to go around since the other ones were reinforced. I'm going to go around this. Okay, where is this thread? This thread is right here. So I think all I need to do, let me see what's going on with this thread. I think that caught that thread. So I'm going to tighten that up. There we go. Good. Now I think I can go through that 15. I can go through that SuperDuo. And then I think I can pass my needle to the other side. And let's see if the threads are close. They are. Almost. See, this thread is coming out of that SuperDuo. So I need to bring this thread down and out that hole. Okay. Now that these two threads have met, I'm going to go ahead and take a bracing drink of my soda, or my Dutch Bros. Tasty. I'm going to tie that square knot right over left and down. Repeat. Right over left, left over right. Now I want to pull this knot in the middle of the SuperDuo. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to go through that SuperDuo, that neighbor, and I'm going to pull that in there. And I'm going to pull the opposite direction on this tail. And the SuperDuo should be there. Okay, the knot should be inside that SuperDuo. So now I'm going to come in with my thread burner under tension. And burn this away. Now, you can think about, like, you could edge this again, right? This is a good, like, beginner, right? You could add some things here in the thing. You could fill in the center, maybe, or whatever, but I'm keeping it right there. Let's go ahead and add the components. I'm going to use the 4mm oval jump ring for this. Okay, Let me get some pliers here. And I'm going to attach my oval to the brio. You could do a briolette that didn't have the bezel. You could stitch it on. I cannot see the closure of this. Sorry, I need to get a little closer to my focal range. I think that's right. You know, you could stitch it on with seed beads or whatever. This one doesn't need a jump ring. We just need to very carefully open it up. I think that's the front. Slide that on and then close that off. I'm using the 90-degree Xeron plier for this, which I love. Come on. Look at how cute that is. Let me put myself up here. And let's take this earring off. Yeah, these are the earrings I'm going to wear on my friend's trip. Look at those. Look how cute. Tiny tassel would look great. So many things, right? Look at how great that is. My hair's kind of a mess, but whatever. So fun. What I was also thinking was we could use those aluminum flowers that we have, the roses, maybe for the interior. This, you know, you could do a dangle of those little skull beads that we have. Hey, Miranda, would you grab me some of the tiny skulls?
Oh, sure. And
some of the, let's just take a look at them just real quick. I'm not going to stitch them on, but let's just, for some ideas. I'm going to redo this one. I think that the gold looks a lot nicer. This looks a lot more finished with these components and stuff. Yeah, tiny. And the white, can I have some white? Please. Please. And the aluminum flowers. But you could really turn this into a big Frida kind of earring, right? We could use the tiny skulls. We could stitch the skulls onto the piece. It would make a great Day of the Dead kind of thing, right? I don't know. You could do the, look, we could do something like this. Where it has the all the same color, different colors. Look, and then we could add we could stitch our friend. I can't quite get him to sit up. But you get the idea. Wouldn't that look cool? There we go. Yep, someone's singing for all they're worth out there. Connect that. Look. Something like that. Right? You could stitch this on some ultra suede as a brooch. That would look amazing. I love the way this looks. You could use this as a, use the sew on rhinestone for some shine down here. These are a couple of good, I mean, it's just a good background, but look at how great. Wouldn't this be a great Frida interpretation, right? I wear my Frida earrings all the time, so I would wear these all the time. Sunflowers, this would be a great fall piece. Oh, I'm so glad you all are inspired. Let me get them a little further down. There we go. Super fun, I think. So that's that. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I had fun. I had fun stitching it. I love this little like extra flower down there at the bottom. Kind of cool. But I love this kind of sophistication here, but I also love the fiesta feeling of those. So I cannot wait to see, my friends, what you do with this. I want to see your interpretation of this. As I said, if you are on our homepage, you'll find it now. It's called Bloom. There's a link to the project. You'll see the photo of the layout. I'll finish the other one and I'll put I'll take a photo of this kind of like this so you can also see the other kind of interpretation I did there. I'll put it all up on the project page for you in the project map. So that's that. Thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow, we're going to hang on to your newsletters. Check your newsletters tomorrow because we've got some fun stuff happening there. And then I'll be back with you on Friday for Free Tip Friday. There's the link right there, the Bloom. I agree. The symbol finding really, I think, refines it really, really great. But all right. Well, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you always. Don't forget, you can find us all over socials, our Facebook group, the Bead Table. Hit us up on Instagram and tag us if you post anything made with our products or projects. Check out our Pinterest pages for more inspiration. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button as you're watching us on YouTube. And don't forget to give this broadcast a thumbs up. You can find us everywhere online at beadshop.com. And any questions, reach out to us at info@beadshop.com. Thanks so much, all. I will see you on Friday. The week's flying by. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.